So the question is, if I'm using a bunch of different indicators, in this case, this person here, Mr. Matthew, has given the example of stochastics, RSI, and MACD. And if they are opposing each other in terms of indications, what do you do? What do you trust? Here's what I'd say to this. You're doing it wrong to begin with. And I don't say that as like a mean thing, but understand that when you're using indicators, you really want to separate and you really want to minimize how many you use, at least in my experience. I really do not know many successful traders who use more than, especially 5, but even 3. And typically the best traders that I know use less and less, and they can pretty much almost tell what the indicator is going to say anyways by just looking at, current price action. They don't need to see much more than that. Anyways, when you are thinking in terms of indicators, and again, I'd really suggest no more than 3. I think I have seen 5 being able to be done, but I don't think it adds too much to it, to be honest with you. But if you are going to go with the identification of 3, look, you don't need 3 fucking momentum oscillators, for the love of God. Understand what you're trying to do. If you're trying to capture more kind of like short-term scalpy movements, probably stochastics is going to be a little bit better for that. If you're trying to find a little bit better like long-term momentum in comparison to that, then your MACD is probably going to be a little bit better than that. RSI I only use for momentum, technically it is momentum, but for divergence plays anyways, both the hidden and regular variety. And to be quite honest with you, if you're going to be trading, understand first what you're trying to do and then backwards engineer it. You don't need 3 fucking momentum oscillators. They all have their specific kind of niche of what they're going to be better at in comparison to the other one. You don't need to use all fucking 3. And it's no surprise that they do sometimes disagree with each other, as they naturally will. Understand that on these videos, and I want to be so damn clear with this, on these videos, I'm looking at a shit ton of different indicators. That is not the way that I trade at all whatsoever. I trade with 3 indicators at most. I have a momentum oscillator. I have essentially something for price action and structure, and then I have something that's based off of volatility, and that's all that I do for right now. What do I do? I go off of price action structure, I do RSI, and then I do volatility, which is mediated by the BBWP down here, and that's all that I need. Sometimes I'll include the Joule too, but it doesn't give off signals too often, so I will respect them when I see them, but they don't happen enough for me to be basing like bigger trades off of. Especially, when things go sideways for a long period of time. So to answer your question directly, once again, just choose one, man. Understand what you're trying to do. Are you trying to be a more short-term scalper in a range? Probably stochastics can be a better one if you are limited to those 3. Maybe there's even a better one than that, and maybe that's not even a strategy to begin with. Maybe none of these are relevant to you. That's something to consider. Maybe you're more of a swing trader. Do you want to be looking at any of these? Probably not. I mean, maybe MACD, if you're going to be a swing trader, it's going to be okay, but even that, there's probably better things for that. I mean, if you want to be a swing trader, I'd probably just go with moving averages, but that's not going to be a momentum oscillator anyways. But I don't know, the classic setup would be like moving averages, MACD, and in volatility or something like that, and pretty damn good. So again, define what kind of trader you're going to be, or what you can be adherent to over a long period of time. Backwards engineer, and then select your indicators. So it seems like we have a little bit of analysis paralysis, which honestly is one of the things that I actually very much regret about my programs. So in my programs, I just throw a buffet of indicators at the beginning, and in hindsight, it is explained within the program, like, look, don't fucking do more than 3, like even less is better, like start off with 1, but in hindsight it would have been better if I literally just picked out 3 and just said this is it. But of course, there is more to that, and you do want to have more variables with it. Understand though, on these videos, this is not the way that I fucking trade. This is just for pure YouTube analysis. I don't need to know about the fucking moon cycles in order to take an hourly scalp, for example. I don't need to know about like, are we in a golden cross or death cross if I'm going to be trading the 5-minute, for example. It doesn't fucking matter. Or it does matter. Obviously, it has implications with it, but it's not the most pertinent thing. It's just going to be more or less noise. It's going to confuse you more. And realistically, you're always going to find an indicator. You're always going to find a time frame. You're always going to find a period or a setting that's going to give you a signal that confirms or denies your current view. Stick with one, standardize, and that's when the statistics will work for you. If you can backwards engineer that, then put it into a trading plan, and then back test that so that what your expected percentages for wins and losses, and also the amount for that will be, then you can actually have a goddamn plan. But it requires you to actually simplify, and this is where I think a lot of people get really run up with. They think more indicators is better, because that's kind of what we're taught, right? More is better, right? Or at least for us Americans out there, more is better, right? You go to McDonald's, you gotta fucking supersize me, bitch, shit like that. And realistically, It's not in trading. Trading is a game of of deduction in my experience. It's a game of deduction. So hopefully that helps in some way.